Hello, it's Crypto CJ. It's Trade of the Day, Friday afternoon slash evening Zoom edition, and Bitcoin looking pretty good today, pushing that 28K. It's been a struggle to pass that and keep that, turn that into our new support. We had some favorable legal rulings this week. Bitcoin reacted nicely to those and gave it back up, then bounced back up today. So we're still sort of consolidating, but we're hopeful. I'm rocking my Uptober background, so optimistic. I'm going to keep this one up all month because I'm a little bit lazy, and I just like the message, the optimism. Fourth quarter of 2023, we're going to push everything up, dashing towards the end of the year. So you know, that's my hope, and we'll see what happens. Let's look at Bitcoin. Let's look at the chart. Okay, Bitcoin day chart. You guys seeing that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I extended my zone a little bit. We've cleared 25 and 26K, which was the bottom of the zone, at least on my day chart. And we got this nice green candle here, and we're over 28 today, up to over 2% on Bitcoin. So that looks good. I want to see a run up to this 30 or this 30,000 range, and then break through, and then go to some ridiculous number. So that's what I'm hoping for. Ethereum has had some bad news. I was reading earlier today that there was an exploit involving FTX last year, and whoever did that was just keeping that ETH in a wallet, and then now they've sent it over to a couple exchanges and DeFi platforms to liquidate. So that's put a strain on Ethereum this week. See all red candles, got down to about 1600, just above, but a push back up today, probably helped out by Bitcoin. So that's what I've got for news in the markets overall. Any questions, comments, or additions? Reckless speculations?
Not
No.
really. If
No.
big, it's already going above 28,200, do you think it's a good long entry around there?
Well, it's a good question. That's not really how I trade. This is mostly what I emphasize is day trading and short-term swing trades. I do talk about the market overall. I think that's important to know. But to answer your question, yeah, I'd say if this holds during the week, if this 28K turns into support, then I think that would be a reasonable entry. I'd probably hold some funds back in case it dropped down to 25K again. But I've bought at 25K twice, and I bought at 1600 for Ethereum for my hodling. I don't talk about that much on this because, to be candid, there are people on this call more qualified to talk about such things than I. But as far as day trading, that's really more my thing. So not sure if that answered your question or not, but yeah, if 28K holds and you're a
Well,
hodler.
talking about day trading. So if for day trading, is that a good entry?
Well, for day trading, I'm usually looking to get a 1% move, and I trade on leverage, so at 10x leverage. That's my general approach to day trading. I mean, I have some automated trading that's more scalp-like, and then I talk about spot trading as well, because I know a lot of people who watch this are new to CryptNation. They come into Altcoin Alert and they're spot trading. So that's where we're trying to get 2, 3, 4, 5% in a day or two on a spot trade. So I talk about those kind of entries as well. But it just depends. To be candid, I haven't evaluated Bitcoin for a day trade. So
Okay.
sure, why not? Let's look at it. Let's go to the 5-minute chart and
I'm going
bring
to.
up my usual. This is an older approach. We've got the squeeze momentum, which is an indicator I like to use for confirmation, is green, but kind of small. The RSI shot up here, and then that's the relative strength index, which is another indicator I use from time to time. It's kind of sitting in the middle. And then we've got the 5-minute chart, which is what I use, the 5 and the 15-minute charts usually for day trading. We're kind of hovering between the top of the Bollinger Band and the SMA line, which is not usually where I want to get in. If we had an established bull market, this would be a good entry because we'd have a move above the top of the Bollinger Band, a dip down below to the SMA line, then a green candle here. So we'd be looking for a move up, but we're far from establishing a bull market, so I'm not really comfortable with this kind of entry. I'd look for a retrace, and let's look at some support here on the 5-minute chart. I see some here, a bunch of candles here from earlier today, more touches here. So that's right around 27,475. There's an obvious dip down to this area here at 27,250. And then some more support here, 27.8, 27.9. I think I'd look for an entry around the support here at 27.5. That's where I'd be looking to, if I were going to day trade Bitcoin, which I don't do on a spot trade. So to set that alert, it's Friday night, you might have something going on. You right click on your chart, add an alert. I like round numbers, so I just go with 27.5. And I don't know what we'd call this alert. We don't really have an information source, so let's call it Tomas's suggestion. So that's my alert. And my notifications, it's going to notify me on my app. It's going to show a pop-up on my desktop computer. It's going to play a sound. Let's go with handbell. It'll go off once, click create, and now I've got my alert ready to go. And Tomas, am I saying your name correctly, or am I butchering it like a gringo?
No, you're very good.
Okay.
It is Tomas.
All right. See, I'm familiar with that name because I live in Arizona. So
nice.
All right. So let's move on, unless we have something else about the market
Thank
overall.
you.
You're welcome. Okay. Let's go to Altcoin Alert, see if we can find some trades. So I'm on the altcoin radar columns. I'm going to reload to update. And I'm going to show you a few different sorts. First one I like is the AA score. This is the go-to, what most people look at. I've looked at Nano before. It's not on an exchange that I use. Quantum, I trade sometimes. And Zcash, I trade sometimes as well. I was looking at LPT. It seems to have gone away. So I had that one from this morning. All right, I've got Quantum up, so let's look at that one. All right, I'm gonna go to my 5-minute chart. And this is my latest layout. I've been using this one for a few weeks. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago for the first time. I still have the supply and demand visible range, the green and the red that shows me the range of where the market is, and I like to use it as confirmation on both longs and shorts. I like to buy something as it's coming out of this range on the long side, as it's dipping out of this range on the short side. For those of you who are just trading spot, you can ignore the short references and just focus on the long-term trades, or the longs, the trades that are going up. I'm also using this RTI based on the suggestion of our good friend of the program, Frank. So I believe is with us today, lurking in the background. I think it's interesting. It's a little bit better than the RSI. I've been actually trading off this and using the squeeze momentum and this range, depending on what I'm doing, as confirmation. So I will try to go through this slowly so you guys catch on. There's a lot of indicators out there. But for the moment, let's look at this on the 5-minute chart. The simplest possible entry is going to be, or alert is going to be your price alert, like I just showed on Bitcoin. I'm seeing some support here at 225, so that could be a good entry. I'll pull out a line so you guys can see it. So that's this area here. Yeah, right around 225. This is more of a art than a science. We've got the middle band here on the supply and demand visible range. So that could be another entry. And then we've got the green bottom range here. You can put another entry or alert anywhere in here as well. So that's how you do that. And I already showed you how to do that alert, so I'm not going to do that one again. I should drag this down so you see it. So that's the mid-range of this indicator. And then we've got, I'd say in the middle of this somewhere, right around here where that dark green line is, would be another place to enter. If you wanted to get a better entry than just throwing darts at a wall. So let me get rid of that. And some of you may not have known how I found these or came across and downloaded these indicators. You go here to this icon on TradingView, type supply and demand, and it's this Lux Algo. They have a lot of paid indicators, but this one's for free. You can find that there. And then the RTI by Zerman, that's the one I use. And the squeeze momentum by Lazy Bear is the one I use. Now I do change these from time to time. I use them until they don't work for me anymore. Then I look for something else. In crypto, especially in day trading, it's difficult to use the same thing all the time forever because the markets change and you have to adapt. So this is what I'm using now. Now I do most of my indicator alerts on the 15-minute chart. So I'm going to bounce over to that. And there's a couple approaches I've been using on this RTI. You'll notice when it crosses this middle line on a long, it usually has some momentum. I'm using this for my trend-based trades. And this one crossed on Wednesday at noon. Got green. It's coming out of this low zone area, this low area. So I probably would have gotten in right about here. And 1.9%, not bad. Usually looking for 2 to 4%, give or take, on a spot trade. This would have worked for me on a leverage trade because I'm looking for a 1% move at 10x leverage. If you're looking for a spot, maybe a 3% move, you're probably not going to get it until here. So if you're looking for a 3% move, you pick that up about 2 days later. That's a little longer than I want to stay in a trade. Quantum is an older project. It doesn't move as much as some of the other ones. So that trade would have taken longer than I would have wanted had I gone the spot route. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Let's look at some of the other possibilities that happened. Got that cross here. So that's a successful trade. We've got a cross below here on the short side. Eventually would have worked out probably for me. It's coming out of the red zone. I would have gotten in right about here. Goes against me. And then I get my 1% about here 20 hours later. But if you can't spot trade on leverage, so yeah, that's most of us are looking for 1%, even or smaller moves on leverage. Got another cross here. That would have been a little bit better entry. It's a cross up here, and this one, not sure if I would have taken that trade or not, but goes against me. I would have done an additional purchase at 2%, gotten out right around here. So my first trade breaks even. My second trade makes 2%. and I'm out in less than 12 hours with actually more money than I would have otherwise. So if it goes against you and you have a good dollar cost averaging approach, that can be profitable. The downside of that is if it keeps going against you, you could lose more than you would have otherwise. So you have to weigh your options and your risk tolerance as a trader. All right, so another cross here, another cross up here. Those all look good. So the 50 and over on the RTI looks good the last few days. So I'm going to add an alert. The RTI crossover is the first one here. So that's the one I'm going to use. That's actually what I'm looking for. Once per bar close. And this is the AA score purchase. Once you enter something 5 or 10 times in TradingView as an alert name, it'll remember it and populate it like I just did. Notifications on the strategy, I usually go with 3 notes reverb, and we're good to go. So, but I'm not going to do that one. So the other approach I'm using is something that crosses below the 20 and comes up, which is a bigger retrace. The first thing I showed you is a trend. This one is more of a dip and a retrace, or a pump and a retrace. So we're going to look for values that dip below the 20 and come back up. We've got that situation here. Goes against us a little bit. That makes a nice move up. It goes above the 80 value here. See that bubble, and then drops. Actually, it doesn't quite break through. It doesn't drop till here. And I might be in this one a while. Probably would have gotten in right about here. May have gotten out here, but probably not. So yeah, that one's takes a long time. I'm in that one over a day before I get my 1% dip on a short. We get another long entry here. It dips below the 20 and comes back up. So we get a move of about 0.4%, then it goes against us. Maybe I do an additional purchase here, maybe not. And then it goes back up in our favor. So I think that overall would have been profitable. And there's multiple times where that one dips and comes back up. Here's another one. And another one. And this is obviously the best entry here. It makes that big dip and then comes back up. So these should have been profitable at some point. And we do our alerts a little bit differently on this strategy. I'm going to right click, add an alert. And instead of the crossover, we're going to enter a channel. So 80 on top, 20 on the bottom. Earlier in the week, I was doing 90 on top and 10 on the bottom. So you can play around 85, 15, something like that. And again, that's AA score purchase. And I usually go with Chirpy on this one. And I'll click that one on just for fun. And you can see it on the RTI. So when it goes above here and then drops, that alert will trigger. When it drops, say below the 10 and comes back up, that alert will trigger. So, any questions on quantum?
No.
Okay. So that was an AA score sort. Let's look at some of the other sorts. Been using social activity and long-term sentiment as well. Let's go ahead and look at this one. So social activity and trading activity, I want to see a match with these two. And when I see that, that's something usually worthy of further investigation. They're not agreeing at the moment. AVAX, we got fire on social activity and thumbs up on trading, up 5% today. A nice push, but not probably played out. So let's look at AVAX. Go to the 5 minute, see where we are. See if we can find a dip sequence, not seeing it. And we're kind of in no man's land here on the midline, this SMA line between the Bollinger Bands, and looking really squeezy. This happens a lot on Friday afternoons. Yeah, not even 1% between the Bollinger Bands, so it's just kind of snoozing, going sideways. So we don't have really good entry at the moment. There's some support right around here, around 1060. That might be a better entry. So you can use your price alert for that kind of thing. On our 15 minute with the indicators, the 50 approach drops here and probably doesn't work out for us. Drops right about there. And I would have gotten my 1%, so I would have been okay. If you're looking for 2 or 3% or more, you're still in that trade. We get a cross above the 50 here, and then we get a really nice move up. That's that 5% move. So that's a really good entry there, actually 7%. So that one worked out really well. And then on that's our crossing the 50 approach using the RTI for the 80-20. We get a dip below 80 here. Right about there. And it goes against us. I probably would have done 1 or 2 additional purchases and then gotten out right around here on a short. Let's evaluate a long. We get the drop here, then cross above. And again, we get really good entry. Pretty similar to the 50 that we just looked at. Yeah, big move up there, 7%. So AVAX looks pretty good using the indicators. If you're using the trend-based one, the cross 50, you might want to use a squeeze momentum or some other indicator. Look at your supply and demand, see where it came from. But this is really a near perfect entry. We don't get confirmation on the squeeze momentum. You can wait for that if you want. Get that first green bar and maybe get in here, and you're still going to catch that move. So, any questions on AVAX? Okay, let's see what else we can do. So that was social activity sort. And 1 hour projected range. This is better to use when the market's really pumping or dropping. Keep, I've not looked at this in a while. This is giving us a pretty nice value here. It's up 13% today. And we got a 4% mid-range on this between the upper and the lower. So we'll look at this as a spot trade. See if it's on Coinbase. Yeah, this one kind of fell off some exchanges. I used to trade this on Binance a couple years ago. It's only on Kraken and Uniswap. Yeah, I think I'm going to bail on that. So I don't see any other contenders. So this one doesn't produce stuff very often, as I like, unless the market's really, really moving strongly. So let's look at long-term sentiment. I'm going to match this up with Elder Impulse. So when I see bullish on both, that's something I want to check out. Preferably on something I've heard of. Wax, I don't know that one. Rune has been in the news. Rune was processing some of those Ethereum transactions I was talking about earlier. They've had some other problems. They had to shut their system down and do maintenance or something. I'm actually shorting that one now. Band. I think I got in too late. I'm in at 177. It's crept up to 178, so I'm a little negative on that one. Let's look at Band. Let's look at, actually Render has been moving better. I trade that one more often. Render. 5-minute chart. It's up at the top of the Bollinger Band, not an ideal entry. It just broke resistance, at least on the 5-minute. I'd like to catch this on the way back down, either at this area around 177. That's support, or additional support down here at 173. So those are a couple areas I'd want to get in on this on a day trade. On our indicators on the 15-minute chart, this one's done pretty well. Got the 50 cross here, got a nice move from that. It dipped down here, eventually was profitable right about here. Yeah. So that short did pretty well. This long did really well. I love it when it's going like this. That's good stuff for me as a day trader. So yeah, looks good on the 50, on the 80-20. Crosses on a short here. So yeah, nice move, almost 3%. Better entry here, a little bit better here, excuse me. And the best entry is here. And then we get a cross above the 20 here and catch that big move. Good stuff there. And then as a short, we dip below right about here and goes against us here, but then drops down here, and that's probably where maybe I get out here. I'm not sure. If I go up here, I'm probably doing 2 or 3 additional purchases and hoping I can get out down here. It might still be in that trade. Okay, any questions on render?
No.
Okay. Cord is stuck. All right, it's Friday afternoon. Weekends tend to be lower in volume, so sometimes that's better for a short opportunity than a long. So we're gonna look for a Friday afternoon short. So if you're a spot trader only, you can listen and learn. If you're a leverage trader, let's see what we can find. So instead of sorting for the positive on the long term, we can sort for negative. Looking for bearish. Got SHIB. I looked at this earlier. It wasn't that good of a setup. Bitcoin doesn't move enough. IOTA. Ocean. Yeah, this is the one. I'm actually in a short on this now. So bearish on both long-term and elder impulse daily. And this is sort of similar to social activity. Talks about the Twitter data on the long-term sentiment, and then a technical indicator on the elder impulse. You can hover over the question marks and read how they work. Let's look at Ocean. Okay, instead of looking for a 1, 2, 3 dip, we're looking for a 1, 2, 3 pump. And kind of sort of have that here. We got a little bit of a squeeze. 1, 2, 3. We're a little late. The entry would have been right about here on a 1, 2, 3 pump. So you might want to wait for it to come back up here in this vicinity around 30 cents, 30.5 cents for Ocean to get in on a short. On our 15-minute with our indicators, we're sitting right in the resistance area. So this is a good entry for a short. At least based on this information. So I'm looking at my trade over here on a different screen. Yeah, I think I'll leave that alone. I was thinking of adding to it, but this looks pretty good. It just crossed the 20. So not financial advice, but we're in a good area for short on Ocean as we speak. So you may want to consider that. If you want to set alerts and do this later, or tomorrow or Sunday, we can look at our RTI and see, we're evaluating this for short. So we want to see it drop below this 50. That happens here, goes against us, but eventually comes back down. Another cross here, a little bit better entry. Quite a few crosses here of the 50 where we get catch this move down. So pretty good stuff there on the 50 cross approach. On our 80-20 approach, actually I've got this as an alert as a 90-10. This one doesn't quite make it. That would have been a good move down, so I'll have to reevaluate that. But I would have caught this move here, which would have been really good. Almost 1%. That wasn't quite up that early. 5:45 a.m. This is 2 in the morning, actually. This is the one I ended up. Where's the one that I took? I'm not finding it. But this is another time where it crossed over, but it didn't complete it. Crossed over the 50. Actually, this is where I got in. No. Maybe it was one of these areas here. Guess it's not that important, but yeah, I'm still stuck in this one. Not by much. I'm down a couple percent. It's kind of frustrating when it just dribbles along the area that we want it to break through. So that's what happened to me on this trade. Indicators are far from perfect, but they tend to give better entries than just winging it. Okay, I sort of rambled on that one. Any questions on Ocean before we move on?
Let me see if I understood you well. You say that Ocean can be a good short, right?
Yeah, because on the RTI, it just broke the 90. It's about to break the 80. But it has been just kind of playing around up here. So that's a potential negative of this short trade. But we've got, it's in the red zone here. This is resistance. We've got a red candle here. So it looks like it wants to drop. So that could be a trade. And okay, so where do you want to get out on a day trade? Maybe here at this 1% area. Or down here in the green between 30 cents and 29.7.
So the entry will be like 30, 0.35. No, 305.
0.305 if you want to try to get in on a limit order. Yeah, you could try that. Go 0.305 and see if that fills. It's at 0.3047 now this is a Binance chart. So if you're trading leverage on, say, Bybit or BingX or something like that, it might be a little different. But
gotcha.
But yeah, this I think would be a decent entry on a short. And for just a quick little scalp down here to the green zone of 1 or 2%. Maybe if you're new to leverage trading, maybe go 2, 3x, 5x at the most. If you're more experienced, you could go 10x or higher, but that's how I'm seeing it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments, coins to look at, anything like that? Well, that's about all I had. Anything else on your mind you guys want to talk about? Very well.
No.
Well, yeah. So you're saying something, Thomas?
No, I said no.
No, okay.
You answered all my questions already. Thank you so much.
All right, good. So we'll end it here. If you are watching on the recording, thanks for doing that. Hopefully we'll see you live on Monday and Friday next week. Check out the opportunities in the pinned comment to help support the channel. If you're a Carbon member, you'll need to exit this and join my 4 p.m. Pacific / 7 p.m. Eastern Zoom call for Carbon. And you should have that link if you're on my email list, or you can find it in your Carbon K2 homepage. See you guys shortly. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.